So today I wanted to talk about one of my students, one of my emerging bilingual students, and just started brainstorming around some potential ideas that I could implement and strategies I could implement in the classroom to better support his language development. So a little bit about my student Andrew. He is a native Spanish speaker from Mexico. Having completed formal education in Mexico, Andrew is literate in Spanish and thus applies a lot of the phonetic processes he uses in reading his L1 when reading his L2. Andrews also has a really good background knowledge base in his native language, which can definitely be tapped into in the classroom. His major areas of focus are improving his reading comprehension, because at this moment he is reading below grade level, and just overall expanding his vocabulary in his L2. So to address these focus areas, I would implement the following strategies. First, I would have Andrew select a reading level appropriate text on a topic that interests him. I would have Andrew read this text as an independent reading book for at least 20 minutes at the beginning of every day. And then after each independent reading period, I would have Andrew write a summary of what he has read and then identify and define 3 vocabulary words that are new to him that he didn't know while he was reading. At the end of this time, I would sit down with him, review his summary, and look over his vocabulary. There's a couple of reasons why I would do this every single day. Number one, a foundational part of helping students improve their reading comprehension is to have students have designated time where they're reading books at their current reading level, just a little bit up, maybe a little bit harder than their current reading level, independently, to kind of build those reading skills. And additionally, the second thing is looking at vocabulary. So there's a lot of tier 2 vocabulary just when somebody is reading. Andrew picks up things pretty quickly, so I would have him really focus in on what vocabulary words he doesn't know, so we can start building his familiarity with different vocabulary. And then when I'm sitting with him reviewing this vocabulary, I would definitely talk about pronunciation, just to kind of increase his repertoire of sight words and words that he knows and can read in English. Additionally, at the start of every ELA class, having an SEI classroom, I would start off by explicitly teaching a maximum of 2 tier 2 vocabulary words that appear frequently throughout the section of the book that we are reading. I would use the 7-step vocabulary instruction method for each of these words, and where students need to practice saying the word out loud, practice hearing the word in a sentence, and as a means of helping build that vocabulary, especially vocabulary that they're going to see frequently in the text and vocabulary that is important and deserves time. And students will see not only frequently in this reading, but also in other reading. So I would start off the class with that vocabulary at hand, with that vocabulary lesson. And this will just help Andrew to increase his familiarity with new vocabulary and overall expanding his vocabulary. Then I would have Andrew read in a partner pair. I would partner Andrew with a higher reader who can really push him and help correct any words that he says incorrectly as he's reading, to kind of continue to improve and help Andrew practice reading different words and reading text at grade level. So I would use a strategy where Andrew would read first, then his partner would summarize what he had to read. Then same thing, his partner would next read, and Andrew would have to summarize. So this would be a really, really great way of ensuring that, one, Andrew is understanding what he is reading, and two, if he's unable to summarize what his partner read, then he knows that he needs to use the reading strategy of rereading. And this is something that I would definitely reiterate with him at the beginning when we're first starting off using this method. Additionally, throughout, I would have designated stopping points where he needs to stop with his partner to answer a comprehension question orally with his partner to ensure that he's monitoring his reading. This would also allow me an opportunity to rotate across the room and check in with Andrew to see if there's any misconceptions that he is facing, to hear his fluency, and just to overall see different ways that I could support him. An additional support is I would also meet with Andrew in the morning during the tutoring block and read informational texts at his reading level that provide him with background knowledge for the book that we're reading full class. So I think doing kind of this pre-teaching is really important, particularly books that are heavily connected to like maybe historical events, providing that background knowledge and kind of building that background knowledge based on what he already has and continuing to build it in his L2 language.